Good everyone, Stu from Plan Manage Assist here with NDIS TLDR, too long, didn't read. And once again, I've got Richard back here from Potentiate Rehab.
Hello.
Talking about respiratory physiotherapy. So Richard, welcome back.
Thank you for having me again. It's great to see you.
Yeah. So I mean, these are really definitely a useful type of physiotherapy that participants may not necessarily be familiar with. So in terms of, so we've talked about some of the disabilities they might have, but if a support coordinator maybe had questions or maybe suspected that there may be something, or a family member may have had suspicions that maybe this might be something to look into, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me. So my name's obviously Richard Chen. I'm with Potentiate Rehab. Our website is www.potentiaterehab.com.au, or you can always just send an email directly to myself, which is richardc@potentiaterehab.com.au.
And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, we will have the link to the website in the description below. If you are on Spotify, potentiaterehab.com.au.
That's right.
And so other than the respiratory physiotherapy, what other kinds of supports and services do Potentiate offer?
So we also provide neurological rehab. So this could be for people who, have had a stroke, who have, other sorts of acquired brain injuries, or things such as cerebral palsy, as well as musculoskeletal physiotherapy as well. People who, for example, have mental health conditions such as schizophrenia or intellectual disabilities, which predispose them to perhaps being a little less active or a little bit more sedentary in their lifestyles, and they're finding that they're having some issues with weight, or they're having back pain or knee pain as a result. We can definitely assist with that as well. I think what I like about our company is that we have a very wide skill set, particularly for clients who have had a stroke, or clients who have neurodegenerative conditions such as muscular dystrophy or motor neuron disease or multiple systems atrophies, that a lot of these things actually pair together quite well, or they're quite interlinked.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there's a lot of interconnectivity there.
There is, because, for example, if we take motor neuron disease, as the disease progresses and they progressively get weaker, it's not just your your arms and your legs that get weaker, it's also your breathing muscles that get weaker. So there comes a point where things such as positioning, instead of lying in bed all day, really making sure that they've got the strength to sit out in the chair for bouts throughout the day is really important in terms of keeping their lungs healthy, so that they're lowering their risk of things such as lung infections, which can bring them into hospital. So a respiratory physio is not just treatment, it's also a lot about prevention. And what prevention is really about improving quality of life, because to go to hospital really is not a comfortable experience. We obviously don't want to wish that upon anyone. Hospital is great to get the care that you need, but if you don't need to go to hospital, home's always more comfortable, and that's where our services come in. It's really to not just treat, but also to prevent, particularly from a respiratory point of view, where it's very critical. Sometimes you might feel very well, other times you suddenly become acutely unwell and you're very sick afterwards. So that's what I really like, is that our services are all really interconnected. So if I go see someone for example, their stroke rehab, that doesn't mean that I'm just doing stroke rehab. If they're starting to complain that they've, for example, choked on something last night and something's accidentally gone into the lungs as opposed to swallowed down into the tummy, we can have a listen just to see if there's anything that we can do for them.
Okay, and the last thing I know as well, because we just talked about people coming to see you or you going to see them, where do you currently offer services?
So we are currently a mobile service. We're based in Eastwood, so it's quite central in Sydney. We do have clients across all Sydney, so we travel around to them. We've got clients up north, near the northern beaches in Cromer, some down in Panania, Penrith, Schofield. So we do travel out. I think one thing that I really try to emphasize with our company is that we charge a maximum of 30 minutes of travel overall.
Okay.
There's no, that's just the time that we spend on the road. We don't charge any kilometers. We don't charge tolls. Even if that overall time is greater than half an hour, oftentimes it is. For example, from Eastwood down to Panania, that might be about 1 hour with the morning traffic. 1 hour there, 1 hour back, but we just charge, just the 15 minutes each way.
Look, and for those that are outside of Sydney, Richard, we could talk for hours about the idea that even just going 2 suburbs in Sydney can take half an hour.
Yeah.
And so realistically, it's good to hear that you do that. And look, for those that are outside of Sydney, look, I'm sure that if you want to have some questions, reach out to Richard.
Yep.
And if you want to reach out to us, you're more than welcome to. More than happy to try and help find some people in those areas if you do need outside help. But for now, Richard, look, thank you so much for coming in, teaching everyone else,
Thank you for
not me,
having me.
everyone else, about respiratory physiotherapy. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.